Hey, we're back. Episode 13, I'm pretty sure.
13, yeah.
I'm just excited for this episode. I kind of lost every thought I had after I put on the fucking watch. I haven't felt like this since I started collecting.
This is your child?
Because I am a child again.
What did you just put on?
It's, in my opinion, the Holy Grail of fucking Holy Grails right now. It's the VC Everest. Actually, so we're not shooting at our studio. So if the sound is different,
If it's better,
it's because of that.
because we're not at our
So
studio.
we're coming at you actually live today at H-Town, Lean City, home of the Astros.
Home of the free Chick-fil-A sandwiches from home runs.
Is that still true?
Last time I was there was Plucker's Wings.
Oh, dude, that's UT
That's-
though. We
Same
always
thing.
get same thing.
Plucker's has infiltrated Houston.
All right, so as you guys
It's
can
true.
see,
Okay.
It's
Or-
free chicken.
Free
right?
chicken.
Still free
So,
chicken.
Free
now.
chicken.
One constant in life. Free
Yeah,
chicken in
the free
Houston. Right?
so we have two guests with us. If you guys saw any of the Instagram shit, you should know who these people are.
Do you guys actually have followers on Instagram?
For some reason we do, and you know,
Shock.
Trust
Shock.
me, it is shocking.
Total shock.
So we have two guests. How we keep getting guests, I don't know. Honestly, it's beyond me. But we have first one, Brandon Zabodyn, or you might know him better as B Zabodyn
Zabodyn.
214 on Instagram. Thanks for being on the show, Brandon, and letting me.
Thanks for having me.
And then we also have G Lee, my kid's uncle, and he's also an enthusiast who I met because of bracelets.
Yeah. Man, that was a lifetime ago.
Yeah, that was so
That
long
feels
ago.
like a lifetime ago.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like met him at New York, took me to subpar Italian restaurant,
Subpar.
but it was pretty good. Yeah, today we're gonna be talking about how these guys got into collecting, because as far as the journey maturity for watches, these guys I would say are at the top of it. G hates watches. I'm sure BZ at some point hates watches too. So you know that they're at the top.
A tale as old as time, Jay.
And
You know.
that's just how it works. I guess first things first, wrist check.
Let's check. Okay. I guess I'll go first.
Yeah, go ahead.
I got the Pepsi on.
Oh, I thought you sold it.
No.
You told me you flipped that.
Yeah.
You were so excited.
Yeah, I was so excited. But yeah.
Where's
I
the
still got it
Pepsi?
on. It's on my left
Okay.
arm.
It's on the wrist.
It's on the wrist, yes.
Yeah, I totally see it. And
I fucking hate this rumor that they're trying to start.
for me, what I'm wearing right now is I'm actually wearing VZ's watch. I fucking forgot what watch I wore today.
I know I'm not wearing shit now. You
Yeah,
stole
man.
I'm
your
Grand
wearing
Seiko, I
the
think.
VC Everest. Oh yeah, fucking the SBGX whatever from Japan.
Doesn't matter
It
anymore.
doesn't matter anymore. G, what are you wearing? Or what?
I was wearing an AP 15450 blue dial.
15450.
Yeah, smaller one, smaller mid case, 37. Kind of a small boy. I don't know what to say.
Mhm. No, I mean it's
You know?
perfect. I think that's 450 is
It's-
the best to me.
Perfect size for me.
I think the 15500 is face a little too fat, too big.
It's a little big boy. Yeah.
Well, so I guess for BZ, since I stole his watch, how about anything else literally on the oh my god.
Well, I was wearing. I just came from the
get
bay
closer.
today. I just came from the bay today, so I was wearing actually my Tudor bronze, the Black Bay Booker, which
Right
is
on.
the blue one. Just got the brown also, and I was able to get that in the saltwater for the first time. So
Oh,
yeah, we're gonna see what that bracelet looks like in a week.
that
Dang.
patina.
Yeah.
You
Hey, that's
gotta
a quick
put
way to
ketchup
do
on
it.
it later. Like I see
Yeah.
all these people.
Or eggs, crushed eggs.
The
and it
ketchup
does
actually
it.
cleans it though. It's
Yeah,
ketchup,
ketchup cleans it.
or mustard
Eggs,
or
Yeah, when you,
You
want to
gotta
like
do eggs.
reset it.
Yeah.
Like smash some eggs, put them in a Ziploc bag, put the watch like near it.
What the fuck are you guys talking
So,
about, man?
so back in the old my Panerai days, we had a Nebi, which is
That's right.
You know, so I had one the first time I did that. I put it was like liver of sulfur.
That's right.
Shit, I had to order from Amazon. It was you open the top of this thing. It is the worst smelling thing you've ever smelled in your life. And I took Rubbermaid Tupperware box and closed it as fast as I could. So I couldn't get the smell of the house for like 2 days. It was terrible. But the watch looked badass. when it was
Weird
done.
products the FBI is tracking you now.
Yeah, no,
Listeners, just know that you have not hit rock bottom until you've had to buy fucking specific chemicals for your watch.
For your watch.
Like from Amazon.
That's like some true degeneracy.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, or if you want to start bleaching bezels and stuff,
Hey, I did that. Actually,
Let's not go too crazy here.
That was,
I actually asked VZ for help.
he did.
I actually didn't do that myself. I was like, hey, VZ, like, I asked him, and then he told me, like, how long to leave it in for, like, to probably scuff up a little bit, so that way it looks properly aged and not just faded.
Yeah.
It came out fantastic, actually. And it was super worth it. Dude, $100 bezel on eBay. And you could just do that. I mean, Crown Arts Custom is great. It's $500 though.
He didn't used to be that expensive, man.
No?
Yeah, it used to be like 2 something. But
Yeah, see,
demand.
2
He's
is
good
reasonable.
though. He's good.
He
though.
is good.
He's really good though.
Yeah.
Maybe one day they'll start selling watches like, you know how they sell ripped jeans? They'll just come pre-scratched.
Pretty
They-
fucked
Man,
up.
Yeah,
it's
pretty
it's
messed up.
sneakers
They call that
now.
honest
Oh,
condition
now,
now,
yeah,
man.
now
I'm coffee dyeing shit in the backyard. I mean, it's
Yeah, man.
it's so funny fucking watching this guy do coffee dyeing on fucking sneakers, dude. He puts it like into the coffee, boiling water.
Yeah, man. I've seen those.
Coffee
It's
dye.
so.
It's
I'm not
insane.
gonna lie though, it's cool because like the results that he's done is amazing. If you didn't know,
Wow.
BZ is a sneakerhead
impressive.
on top of being fucking baller watch enthusiast. He's
Big sneakerhead.
just a complete psycho.
and then
My hope is to drag you down with me.
That's fair. That's very fair.
that's so
That's fair.
good. But man, like the whole hobby is just fucking weird now because you pay more for messed up things. But it's always been like that, I guess. I think Brendan has a question for y'all.
Yeah. So our first questions, we are actually looking to see which watch you guys want to donate to us today.
Because
we are a 503c nonprofit.
Are you guys actually
We-
if I was C3?
and we work with
Which
NGOs.
representative? Which representative would you like
we
to
had to
get
ask
to?
earlier
Yeah, we
about
work-
that one.
We work
But-
to bring watches
to Rolex to bring
to
Rolexes
people who need them.
who are
We're
in
the
need.
people who need
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'll
which
literally
one,
take any
guys?
of them.
I think
Yeah,
that
any of
I
those.
think the BLRO that I let you borrow was pretty good. You can give that up.
I love how that rumor is coming and permutating into.
And it's so funny because in the group chat, like, or not in the, yeah, I guess in the group chat, like one of our ADs is in it. The guy who sold it, and he's like,
They're
"Did
trying
you
to-
really fucking sell it?"
Yeah, they're trying to get me in trouble with them.
The first one, I guess, off the cuff is I'm curious with all these watches and like with your experience in the whole hobby and having been in here for so long, what's one watch that you're ashamed of ever owning? Because like usually people are like, "Oh, what's your favorite watch?" We're going the other way
Other
around. What the fuck did you not like?
I'm ashamed of all these watches actually. Like you guys don't understand. Like I can't have normal friends anymore. I hope you guys know that.
It's
All right.
I can see that, but no, you have to give me one specific one that
That you'd be ashamed around other watch collectors. you know
So,
what I mean?
so the first nice watch that I ever bought was right when I graduated MBA, and I was just like wasting hours on like what you seek, looking on like the watch trade, and and this is like kind of before like Hodinkee kind of like really kicked off and everything, and so I was like, well, like I want like a watch I can use every day, right? And I was like, okay, well, I can only afford so much. So there's this, I either buy like this old Speedmasters from like the 60s or 70s, or I buy like a really new watch, like this Ball, Engineer 2 red label, and like, oh shit, look at this watch. Oh, I can get I can get the same price for a 43 millimeter versus like a 40 millimeter, and that's more watch for the money. So
physical watch.
I'm just gonna buy that. I'm just gonna buy that, and so I forgot it was like $1,500 or something for that Ball Engineer 2 red label 43 millimeters, and I wore that watch I think for like 5 years, and
Wow.
did
Wow.
not
You
think
wore it,
about
though.
did not think about any other fucking watch. I was happy, guys. And then after like I moved to New York City and I got into watches,
that
and I started
sucks.
thinking about
Yeah,
it.
that's what got-
and then it just snowballed from there, man. And I kind of miss that watch a little bit because life was so much more simple. It was, but I am a little ashamed because I
should have looked
kind
at
of a terrible,
Panerai.
it's kind of a terrible watch, man.
You would have had like the best bang for
Oh
buck.
my
They were
God.
making 47s.
Yeah. I probably passed like a Ed White. It's like, oh, why would I buy like a fucking old watch?
Oh,
You know?
God.
You mentioned Panerai. That was one I'm thinking through my head. Like I had a 372, and I thought I was this big badass with all these 47 millimeter subs and stuff like that. So for a while, like I'd say 2007 to about 2012, that's all I had. I had like
Only
7
Panerai?
Panerais.
Holy
Is that
I had
true?
one Rolex. I had like 150 straps. I was a psychopath.
Oh,
Just
you
like-
must have been big on like Panerai.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
We
shit.
went to the get-togethers and did all the
Yeah.
all that fun stuff. That was my first get-together I ever went to was through
Panerai.
Panerai. So, but going further back than that, my first real watch outside of the one my wife she got me a Tag Heuer Formula One, which
Hey,
is
the
cool. It has a
F1.
Longhorn on
F1
the
is cool.
dial.
Nice.
Oh, I know what
It
you're
has
talking about.
Nice.
I do
Nice.
have one of those too.
And my initials are engraved on it, and she
Mine
always
is.
laughs.
Oh,
She's like,
can't
"Oh,
get rid of
if I didn't,
Can't fucking get rid of it anymore.
I didn't engrave your initials," and it was like the year I graduated. You just sold that shit already. I was like, maybe,
Back when UT did the whole like collaborations.
and that's what it was. It
That's
was
what it
through
was, right?
their like when you went
At
to go
the
get your
co-op.
class ring and
Yeah.
stuff like that. They had when it was Tag Heuer, like a
Yeah.
wall play. It was kind of it's
Like
kind of cool.
one of the cooler ones that UT did, I thought it was always cool, was the Breitling Colt because
Oh, yeah.
I associate that with Colt
McCoy.
Oh man,
It's
that's
so
a while
fucking
ago.
badass. It's a long
Shit.
time ago, but we were winning then.
Today, it's,
Too soon, man. Too soon. Too soon.
but I guess the answer I kept going back to, my first watch I actually bought myself with a work bonus, was this kind of similar story. It was in a magazine. It was always the back cover. I kept seeing this Tag Heuer Carrera chronograph that said
man.
it had to be whatever they said the height was. They were lying because it was like twice that. It was so thick. The worst part was it was like the only watch I had for like 2 or 3 years. Wore the shit out of it. So I took it to a local jeweler because I kept hearing about people polishing watches. I had no idea at the time. So I took it to him to get it polished. Well, guess what it came back as? It was full polished. Like the bracelet, everything. It was
Nice.
it was the most blingy thing I'd ever seen.
Nice.
So you're talking about completely ruining a watch. The funny thing about that was I found someone to trade me a Bond Seamaster straight up for
What?
that watch.
You're joking.
So that was my first watch I bought
Shit.
myself.
What the
How I
Made
got
a clean exit on that
Scamming
one.
was it.
people
That was it.
forever.
Yo, time zone.
I like
so talk
it.
about
I
wondering
like
where
it.
a watch was. That was a piece unique.
If you
Piece unique is
Dude,
Good way to put it.
100%.
went from that dude to a legacy machine. What the fuck?
Yeah, that's a huge.
Life is long, man.
That's
jump.
it.
Life
That's
is
some
long.
growth. Let me tell you.
I always laugh when people ask about that because the meme going around about the Rolex collectors and stuff and the bell curve and like following
yeah.
your collecting journey. It's
You're
like
there at the bottom.
Yeah.
every
Like,
single one of those little
Independence
bumps
only,
and-
man. And then like
Uh-huh.
Rolex is bullshit. Like, oh no, Rolex is the king.
Vintage Rolex is the best.
Yeah, man, definitely.
Yeah,
and
that
then
was-
watches are bullshit.
Watches are
I'm like
bullshit.
right
I
before
think-
that.
yeah.
I'm super close to that right now.
I
Same.
think everyone.
God, dude.
But besides these newbies that just walked into it this
That's
last year
me.
or two from
That's-
COVID,
that's
so
me.
right.
Brandon, actually, do you have anything?
Yeah, what is
about
your
that?
shame?
Mine.
Your shame.
I got gifted an Invicta and I wore it for a while, a few months, and yeah, I think that one was probably, not the one I'm too happy about. But like, there's a lot of watch for like $60.
You're
It's
dead
crazy.
to me.
Yeah, but hey,
You're dead to me.
Hey, just putting it out there. I now have a Pepsi though. Okay.
Wait,
that
where?
has redeemed me. Where? It's on my wrist.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I see it there. Oh, dude, for me, it would probably be the fucking first watch I ever got.
Vado.
No, dude, that's cool because my grandpa gave that to me. But
Oh snap!
come on, dude. It's Seiko 5. Like
Oh, yeah.
back when
Yeah,
they were
yeah, yeah.
$50 on Amazon.
What are they? 150
Wait,
now?
are they more than 50 now?
Dude, they're like 150.
150 bucks.
Man,
or
inflation's a
something.
bitch.
Yeah, bro,
Inflation's a
Seiko
bitch, man.
5.
I don't know what to tell you.
It's like, what the fuck? I hate that one just because it got me started, dude.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
That's
That
fair.
was the rabbit hole.
Yeah, that's fair.
And it just never stopped. And I was like, oh, cool. Like, when I get a job, like a better job, I'm gonna
Buy more
buy
watches.
more watches. And then my first expensive one that I actually do wish I kind of didn't buy was the Cartier, or the Calibre de Cartier. You know what I'm talking about? See, that's why. Regret that one. I sold that bitch as soon as I wore it out after like 3 months. I have another question for you guys.
Go for it.
Just roll them out.
Fuck, marry, kill. Kerry Voutilainen, Francois Paul, and Max Buser. Go.
Oh, So I would probably marry Max just because like he's just such an interesting guy, and I want to be with him forever, right? Like just the craziest shit that like happens, you know. And like I think that like from, you know, like from the perspective of like wanting to see new things happen in what arguably, you know, is just a very like even keel kind of like, you know, industry, right? So just marry Max at that point, right?
Okay.
Man, I don't know the other two.
All right,
like,
right,
it's
you
fine.
gotta do it.
Who are the other two again?
Francois Paul
Yeah,
and Kerry Voutulainen.
I'll probably fuck Francois Paul then. Yeah. Yeah.
Why do you want to kill Kerry?
Yeah, you want
I
to kill
don't.
Carrie?
I mean, you're just
Right.
putting me up for it, you know. So you know what I think it is? Like, I think it's one of those things where, like, I feel like the value of, you know, KV is that like it's all in like this very ornate dial. You know what I mean? It's all like this aesthetic, and the aesthetic doesn't. It's not the type of aesthetic that like really speaks to me. You know what I mean? Like I like like, you know, I know it's like weird that like I point out, you know, Max is the person I want to spend the rest of my life with, but then I'm like, oh, like look at all these like complicated dials, or like like maybe I know. So like, I know there's like some paradox there, but I guess like it's almost more like an old world style. You know what I mean? In terms of like the type of like, you know, work that's on it.
Very
And
classical.
So yeah, it's like, but like it's almost like. It's like one of those Fabergé A classical type stuff. And while I respect
said
that and it's
cult,
interesting, it's like, man, it's like kind of not, it's almost like how people really like Art Deco, but it's just not the design aesthetic that like really speaks to me.
Because I mean,
right?
the guy makes amazing cases too.
Oh, for sure. For sure. But it's also like, oh man, look at these like reverse turtle, like, you know, whatever
Yeah.
things. I'm like, okay, that's cool. I'm never going to wear that. Like, it's just not something that speaks to me. So
why
that's
would
probably
you
what it is.
bed Francois?
I mean,
Out of
it's the French.
spite?
It's all,
Is it
all the
spite?
French.
You
Yeah,
got
I like angry
spite
fucks.
fucking
Like
it?
yeah.
Okay.
I want like an
Spite
angry
fucking.
fuck every now and then. Those are the best ones.
Okay.
You
Jeez,
know?
nasty, dude.
Some nasty, nasty.
Look, man, just I don't know what to say.
It's got all the frustration out of the watch world.
Gentleman doesn't kiss and tell, so I'll just leave it there.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Leave it at the
Hey,
table.
so now BZ.
So I'm gonna fuck Max for sure. That's no question. And by default, I mean just look at it. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
no, but that's, you know, this is a Swiss Indian. That's an interesting mix of his ethnicity. So we'll see what that.
Dude, Max a bad bitch.
Yeah.
I love Max. Max
Nice.
knows I love him. Because,
Nice.
And he's very cool. So that whole, you know, one thing about him, I feel like he brings in. There's no one that's more accessible to their collector base than Max.
Is that so? That is true.
That is very accurate.
Really?
I mean, you know, even, you know, responding to DMs on Instagram and
Wow.
reposting your pictures and stuff on his personal account, super cool. So I heard that a lot, and unfortunately his daughter had caught COVID, but he was supposed to be in January at a I guess a dinner kind of event I was invited to, and I just keep hoping he can maybe find his way to Texas somehow, so we can.
Oh, that would be
can
amazing.
get a
Well,
group
maybe he'll
together
listen to this
around him.
podcast. He'll be like, yeah, that's the place I want to
He's
go.
like, oh, it seems like I'm really loved
wanna
there.
fuck
People
me in
want to marry
Texas.
me. People want to marry me. Fuck me in Texas.
Yeah. No. So Mary, I was thinking about Kari, but you know, like the bald guy, like the age with, you know, no one. Yeah, like he's safe. He's safe.
We're actually talking about physical features of these guys. Oh man, I answered this
You-
all wrong.
You did.
I answered this all wrong.
However you want to, whatever you want to
no.
interpret it.
No, FP is that's another amazing guy, but I don't think I could probably have multiple conversations with this guy over the course of years. He would get angry at me and probably throw me through a wall or something like
can
that.
see
He
that.
seems like he can have some anger
eccentric, huh?
issues.
Temper,
for sure.
temper.
Yeah.
I mean, the French love and the French live very, very
Passionate.
strongly, passionate.
Passionate,
Yeah. So
No,
you know.
but obviously, you know, just talking about horologically, these are three of the. I mean,
Damn, dude, everyone wants to kill Carrie.
Yeah,
What the
no.
fuck?
Well, he's the oldest one, isn't he?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
So it'd be the easiest to take out.
Hey man, quality not quantity of the years left. I just want to point that
not
out.
I
quality.
love the way you put
Not
that.
Say
quantity of the years left.
Well, these
That's
guys
a
have
good way to put it.
but quality they've lived some quality lives and put some quality pieces out there.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's pretty neat that and talking about the MBNF that's a menage a trois because the back of it is signed by Kari. So,
Oh,
Wait, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
he collaborated on the movement with them.
Solid man.
It's so,
So,
badass.
Yeah.
Solid.
You got what you got.
For me,
Yeah.
I would probably kill Max because he's getting too powerful. He's got all the his
How
friends.
dare you?
Max
and
collaborating together and making all these beautiful watches. He's getting too much.
Too powerful.
You're killing our chances of getting Max down here to like Houston. You know that, right?
Well, that
Take
was
it back.
That was
Take
a
it back.
jest. Okay, I would actually marry him just like everyone else.
Good recovery.
And
Good
I'll
save.
kill
Good save.
Carrie just because you know.
just because
fucking the other two guys said it.
the chameleon Brandon.
And I'm down to do a menage a trois with
Francois.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I would actually definitely marry Max just from interactions with him.
Word.
Like, not kidding, dude. Like BZ already said, the guy really does talk to the community. I don't even fucking own an MBNF, and like, there's no way. Like, there was a missed opportunity. Like, there was an MBNF, the friends and family one that was on Reddit. Some moron sold it for $6,000. Yeah. Sold. No, on God, sold like that. I was like too late. Dude, I would have 100%.
For sure.
But yeah, sold it. And it sold. And I was like, man, that's such in bad taste, dude. Like, it was given to you as a friends and family and you're going to flip it for $6,000. Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
I went off on a post on someone about that. You know that these dealers have been posting them up once and that's the only thing I have missing here. I forgot to bring it because it was on my dog, my robo dog. And I understand different people got this watch and different people that were vendors or had some other relationship, maybe that weren't truly watch collectors.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's where I guess I can't be too judgy on that. But
mean,
it still
it
hurts
is-
to see them because there's if you go on Chrono 24,
Like
there's
20
a lot of
now,
them.
right?
Dude, there's a lot.
There's a
lot.
lot for sale, and that to me, it's like it stings a little bit. You know?
It's in poor taste, in my opinion. Like, something like that, dude, if it was given to you and you were given the opportunity to get it, why the fuck are you doing that? Like, you should be blacklisted. A ton of the hobby is supposed to be for fun, and a lot of it is kind of just washed off because a lot of people are caught in the hype of it, and it's like, man, this isn't why you should be in this hobby.
Too much money
Yeah.
to play. You know. It's,
Yeah.
I think that's definitely it, right? Like at a certain point, like you can't take as many risks anymore in your collecting, all right? Because it used to be like, okay, you know, I'm going to try this out. If it doesn't work out, that's fine. I can like unwind it for like a small amount or whatever. But now it's like, man, you know, like you got to like work to get your foot in the door, right? To get an allocation. And then like if it doesn't work out, like, well, as you've said, like if you sell it, like you're fucking blacklisted.
Right.
And then like what are your options after that?
And it's sad that that's what, you know, that thing that you know,
Yeah.
we came to that point in time, and we've seen it with so many other things, and it's trickled over to something that, you know, we're love and supposed to be passionate about. And we don't have a whole, as many people though that I feel like are on that end of it. There's just as many, you know, I've made more friends, and my wife always jokes about, you know, the internet friends and the watch friends,
Yeah, man.
you know.
So BZ, you were interviewed, right, at Houdinki, and now you're being interviewed here at Watch
Yeah,
Cringe.
which is who did it better? Who did it better?
Is your life on a decline, or what do you think is
This
happening
is
right now?
no.
He went down. He
He
went
went
from fucking Houdinki
I think
to
he
this.
climaxed
Yeah.
already. Now you're down.
It's that bell curve again, right?
Yeah, it's the bell curve, exactly.
No, it's yeah, that was something I was talking to. The guy's name's Logan, who has some, you know,
Logan is cool, man.
Logan's very cool. And so I'd never had a chance to meet him. You know, he's in New York. I go to New York frequently, it seems like, with watch different things, but he meant to come down here a while back and didn't. It was probably around the holidays, and we didn't have a chance to do anything in person, so we ended up having to do it by phone. And it was really the first time I had a chance to spend time with him, and it was pretty neat. But it was kind of funny of all that, like what actually made it to, you know, we talked for 30 to 45 minutes on the phone, and
how
like
it
two
goes.
lines make it into the article. But I mean, that's part of what he had to do. But it was pretty neat to see, of all places, Houston, you know, and that
Yeah.
if it wasn't for
it caught
him
me
and
off
that
guard.
yeah,
you know, when I
it
saw
really
that
did.
article
Yeah.
about
Whenever
it.
he
When I
first
saw
came to me
that.
with that, I was like, Houston, like
Yeah.
Houston sucks for watches, you know, it's like,
Hey,
compared to everywhere.
you guys have dealers, man. Like,
Yeah. Yeah,
Austin
there's a lot.
is
There's a lot.
dead.
yes, no, Austin's worse, you know.
Austin is so bad for horology.
And we have a few, you know, it's still, and some of those things kind of funny. It makes full circle with, again, going back to what got me into this was seeing all these guys at like poker tables with gold Rolexes on and stuff like that when I was younger.
Texas oil
Like,
money.
Yeah, right.
The
So-
Texas
Texas
Timex.
Texas Timex,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
So
man.
that was kind of what our conversation kind of went down that rabbit hole, because there are, I mean, every jewelry store in Houston has a pre-owned Rolex section, you know, and so it's that's kind of neat, because especially back whenever I was into vintage Rolex, I was able to go around and you could kind of pick stuff off here and there that you'd never have a chance.
Wow.
Today, like everyone you can look on Chrono 24.
Yeah, it's
that's
so accessible
that is long
to know the
gone.
value.
That is
Information
long
asymmetry is
gone.
just
So-
like it's over.
so,
You know
but
what I
there,
mean?
even today though, I have kind of a little, unwritten deal with one of the dealers here that sees he just deals with modern, doesn't know much about vintage. But when they come into his store, he'll call me up, and so just because that was at a point in time, that was really I was living vintage Rolex, and so it was real
love
cool.
vintage
So now it's like the barn find stuff. I mean, this year alone, I've already seen a Paul Newman 6241
Shit.
that was original owner's family. Came in off the street, and obviously I couldn't,
Yeah, man.
do that, but I ended up finding a home for it, and
Yeah, man.
pretty neat. So something like that. I mean, to come,
They're still out there.
how is
man.
that going? Yeah,
Still out
but that's,
there, man.
That's Houston.
Still out there.
Who knows?
It's pretty badass.
You know.
It's energy capital of the world, right? But
Yeah.
I'm
And-
fucking
yeah.
tired right now.
Yeah, why are we so tired?
There's a cappuccino maker across
Yeah,
the
man.
Oh,
We got
yeah.
some coffee.
across the hall.
Houston has it all.
And the reason why we're in Houston is because we're visiting G, who works at ExxonMobil.
Yeah, on the way up here, we were visiting all the Exxons to check in of what they thought with our guest, their employer.
You son of a bitch.
And they kept on saying one word to us,
What was it?
Valdez. Let's talk about
Let's
it.
talk about
You
it.
want to talk about Valdez?
Yeah, so I'm curious because a lot of our listeners are wondering how has that whole situation affected the watch market?
Is that spill the reason why I can't get a Rolex right now?
Is that spill from
what's-
like 3 decades ago?
Yeah, is
Oh,
that
constant?
still affecting us today?
Okay.
And the people want to know, your employees want to know.
Oh, you son of a bitch. Okay, so I will say this as like during that time. So for those of you who don't realize they're just fucking with me, Valdez was one of the biggest oil spills from ExxonMobil. I work for ExxonMobil. I'm not speaking as a representative of ExxonMobil, but I will say that like we probably fired a ton of people after that because we restricted
Whoa,
the entire
yeah,
company, right?
yeah.
And so and those people who got fired probably sold all their fucking Rolexes. So
Oh, yeah.
that's probably why you had a bunch of them hit the market.
There we
So,
go. It did
you
have
know?
an effect then.
I don't
guess.
even work
In a
here. And
roundabout
Brendan
way.
tried to fire me in the hallway.
Yeah, man.
I was going on the bathroom. I was like, hey, we're going to need you in the Monday morning. We're going to actually lay off
Can
your
you
whole
come
team.
in? Can you come in? Yeah. Exit plan.
Wait, hold on. So if that happened and it gave more Rolex, why don't you guys hook it up? Maybe do another one of them Valdez's.
Yeah, let's time this
We
right.
already got a war in Ukraine. I mean, things are
Sure,
already,
that is fucking.
we already got some stuff going on, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I
that's
still
true.
don't see no Rolexes going on the pre-owned market for cheap.
Let me guess. As a titan of energy, is your goal to make all watches run on gasoline? Is that what you want? Is that where this is heading?
Well, we are an integrated energy company, which includes both our low carbon solutions, also all of our polymers business as well. So, I mean, we probably
That's
have
including lubricants.
lubricants as well. So we have a ton of things already in the watches already.
wow. Holy
shit.
shit, they're already in there.
Yeah, man.
Damn, you weren't
know,
ready for that.
If
No,
you,
it's
if
got
you
backfired.
maybe if you were literate and you read more,
I don't
Brendan,
know how. I never passed the
you can
sixth
talk
grade.
good too. All right.
I never passed the sixth grade.
That's rough. I did not expect
Okay.
him to actually have an
I
answer
will-
for that.
He's good at
So,
navigating this.
I will say this. It is like it's hilarious to me because first of all, I work in the finance side of Exxon, and everybody always like comes up to me and asks me about like all these random business, like what do you think about all these things that are happening with energy and everything? Look, man, I don't know what you want me to say.
I cooked the books, man. What do you guys want me to do?
Whoa.
Just kidding.
Let's be clear. Let's be clear. No, it's just funny, right? Like association.
They think you know everything about all the
About the
work
company,
of the
it's
company
like,
and
no,
what the
it's
direction
fine.
and the
It's
industry.
The one you give them stock picks. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then I give like shitty stock picks at that point.
Yeah,
So
I
they don't
don't
ever
know.
bother me again.
Pick SDC. I don't know.
Oh Jesus, I'm so.
Her arc is really good, right? Yeah, man.
Go
that
on.
Underwood is like super smart.
yeah.
Jesus,
Few options. Full send on ARC.
on ARC.
100%.
So with the whole situation of the oil spill, you guys.
Really, you're gonna keep on going with this?
Are you seriously going with this?
So let's
I
play.
wanna get
Let's
your
play.
opinion.
Let's play.
I want to get your opinion on resins, an oil-filled watch.
Oh.
On resin?
Resins.
Yeah.
Oh,
They're,
resins. We're like, oh, okay.
The oil-filled watch.
Yeah, the
Big.
oil-filled watch. Are all of them oil-filled though? They're not
Yes.
all oil-filled.
All
are
of
they?
them.
They are.
I thought the D2
Oh, the new one, I
wasn't.
guess, is just
The
Bluetooth.
cushion case one wasn't. Was it?
I thought it was.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'll say this: like, I really love resins actually. Like, because again, it's like one of these like watches that is just like really different, right? From like a design aesthetic, and like things are like really well thought out in terms of like the entire
I don't-
like face of it moving.
I don't completely agree with it being well thought out, dude. Changing the fucking day and date.
Well, you're
on
just
that-
lazy. Like you
No,
did-
dude. I took from changing the day from 31 to fucking 14 took me like an hour. I'm not even fucking kidding, dude.
I mean, to be fair, vintage Rolex also does that, so I'm cool with that. All
You're
right?
already, you're already
Yeah, I'm
conditioned.
already used to that,
Yeah.
right? There's always like a sunk cost to me.
That's your morning bonding, though.
Yeah, right. I will say I like the later. So like I was really hot on resins when it first came out, but like the wire lugs were really long. The lugs
It's
of
so
the first
fucking
one,
long.
super long. But like the newer ones, I mean, like
Dude, the new ones that are
Super nice.
Bluetooth.
Oh, I heard about that.
Do you like? What do you
I heard
think about the
about that.
What do you think
integration?
about- it's a
with-
mechanical watch.
with
that's
the
kind of
phone?
weird, actually. That's a little weirder.
It's mechanical.
Because it will
I
like it's mechanical, but it will stop
I
it from ticking when it
know.
senses it's not being worn anymore.
Isn't that so cool?
Which is, I think that's kind of cool.
Doesn't Jordan have one of those?
The
know, man.
Elegante
The
kind of has
Elegante.
a
A similar thing where if it's dark-
technology.
I'll be honest. That's a little too much for me. It's just like at that point, because again, like I as you've heard me talk, I'm much more of an aesthetic person, right? And while I can appreciate all these interesting mechanical things, like to me, it's like, look, at the end of the day, that's just another potential failure that I have to like figure out how to
Complication that you don't
service
want,
or
yeah.
do, right? And like I just want like a really awesome looking watch. You know,
It
at the
brings a
end of the day.
level of obsolescence to it.
A little bit.
Oh,
a
I
little
feel
bit,
like
right?
so.
Jay, can you look that
Someone
word up?
Tell me what the fuck obsolescence means.
Planned obsolescence.
Yeah, man.
AKA Apple Watch.
Oh, okay. There we go. We got it.
Yeah, you can
Damn,
Google
they
that.
threw in some SAT words, guys.
Fuck. Damn, dude, you guys must have scored perfect.
I think it's
on
like
SATs.
PSATs for you guys.
Yeah.
What did I point out?
Jesus.
What other questions you got up in that?
Well, I'm curious. So, like, with the whole collection, so just let's look at BZ. He has a spread from Microbrands all the way to legacy machines. At what point do you think you ever have an end goal? Do you think you have a final,
Yeah,
a finality?
please tell me there's some light at the end of the tunnel, if you could, BZ.
Or is there's absolutely no finality?
So the only time I had finality is when I completely exited. When I after the Panerai,
You
kinda
completely
debacle,
exited at one point.
2012 or so.
Holy
And I got-
shit.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, so I got out of it for a little while, and I was into like back, but again, just moving the money and the addiction somewhere else. I started racing cars and stuff like that, and so spending money on way too much.
Oh, so this is
trying
actually
to-
cheaper now than the cars.
well, it was
Eh.
easier to work on and and to wear and store and everything else. So so yeah, I mean that was there was time there, but it didn't take long for it to when you really love something else, you see something pulls you back into it. So. That's when I went and got into vintage Rolex. It was I started looking for I just want a birth year. And then slowly migrated to where now the collection was kind of heavy with Patek for a while, just because that's where my connection was, and where kind of I was very thankful to get aligned with the New York crew and Kelly and everything. And she spoiled me for a little while, really. But when you're spending that much money on a watch, there's not much opportunity to go elsewhere. You kind of have to be ready for the next call. And so once that kind of migrated away, then I got a chance to start, really the last 2 years, I've gotten to try a lot more stuff, which has been, to me, very enlightening for myself. I'm talking about aesthetics of what I really like and really wear. And I feel like everything, it's very consistent. I feel like theme. You look here, and it's everything that's there's not there's not many dress watches. It's everything kind of has a sporty feel to it, and that's just where it lines up. So yeah, I've tried multiple dress watches and different things of that nature and stuff that was a little fancier, and that's just at the end of the day, it's
vibe with you.
Yeah, I'm just this guy from South Texas that
that just loves Patek, man.
Just a humble collector, really.
Humble collector.
Just a new guy starting the hobby.
Yeah, I'm just like any other collector over here, But I actually really like that comment you make, because like I guess I've only really been collecting for like 6 years, 7 years, and like my design aesthetics that I kind of like flocked to in the beginning is like very different than where it is today.
Yeah.
And even your comment about like once you sort of like have a relationship with like an AD or something, like you're right, like you have to be ready to say yes. And you kind of like made me think like, man, are there like again watches that I hesitate to take the chance on because I have to keep some dry powder for something that might come down the pipeline, you know what I mean? So thank you today for this. I feel like I've been enlightened a little bit.
It's a little,
and
yeah,
I'm
it's
just gonna
pretty
sell
insightful.
everything. I'm gonna sell everything now and just like restart. So need that
Restart.
Pepsi back, Brendan.
Fucking
Whenever
guys.
you need it.
Andrew, don't believe him. You can check the serial number on it. I swear to God.
And it's not just because, and things have obviously progressed into, it was like, man, I can't believe I spent $5,000. I can't believe I spent $10,000. The first big jump for me was talking about FP Jorn was whenever I was collecting vintage Rolex, the only other modern watch I really, really wanted was a Chrono Blue.
Right
Now,
on.
this is 2012, 2013.
So before like
When they
the whole
sure
thing,
when they were selling
right?
it on
20
discount,
grand.
Oh,
because
shit.
a lot of the places, what's the one in Austin?
They had a few.
There's an Austin dealer that used to sell Coral,
Right.
and they sold FP, and they were like,
discounted.
take the FP. 'cause
Didn't
we're
they have
not
like
fucking
issues
selling
Yeah,
it.
when
man.
they first coming out though?
Huh?
The first.
Yeah, it did. But man, just to see that growth,
Even just like the past year, past 2 years.
fucking
even, right?
insane.
They-
It went from
yeah,
fucking
like
20s,
20s
25 to 30 to 35 to 65 to
60-ish, yeah.
100.
I had a guy who was trying to sell his Chrono Blue for like, I think less than what he bought it for. Like, I think it was like 15 or 16. Right? And he just couldn't get rid of it. Nobody was
my
buying
good
it.
Because
Lord.
back then, dude, Francois wasn't hot yet.
He wasn't someone you wanted to fuck yet. You know
Not
what I
yet.
mean?
Yeah.
But now he is.
He would be on the kill list on that one.
I
Yeah,
will say, a long time ago when I first moved to Houston, this must have been like, I don't know, early 2000, maybe even 12, right? And I remember Zadex, had a big old billboard with this FP Jordan watch. I'm like, man, that's a good looking watch. That is a good looking watch. And then, but I had my ball already, so it's fine.
It's fine.
We go back to the ball.
Like, perfectly cool. It's got tritium gas and all these like hour markers. It's like futuristic, right? But yeah, like world is strange sometimes. You know what I mean?
No, that's there's so much speculation on why things are doing what they're doing now, but some of these things don't. It definitely isn't all natural.
Yeah.
Demand that's happening with all the these certain pieces. And so it's interesting because regardless, when you're spending this much money, there is I don't care what anyone says, there's an investment aspect to it.
Yeah.
I don't care who
Yeah.
you are, I don't
Yeah.
care how much money you have. Whenever you're spending that much money, there's a decision you have to make.
Yeah.
And so for a while, what's funny was probably the first 20 or 30 watches I bought and then either traded or sold. I lost money on every single. It was depreciation, like buying a new car.
man.
It was, you just built it in. You knew, hey, I'm gonna buy this for $5,000 and sell it for $3,500. It's just that's what
It's
you
the
do.
cost of enjoyment.
Right,
Yeah.
but that's
Yeah.
it. You wear it, you enjoy it, and that was part. It was part of that sunken cost. But now it's the other side of it, and people not enjoying certain watches and giving. You're talking about resins. I think this is a perfect time. If someone is interested in resins, why the hell wouldn't you buy one today when all this other shit's completely overhyped and overpriced? And
People paying like 15 for like a
Yeah.
sub
Yeah,
on the
it's
secondary
crazy.
market. I think it's interesting, right? Because I think that a lot of new collectors, it's like, when you enter a market and all you've ever known is a bull market. Right. And to the certain, your comment earlier too, BZ, like when you're talking about like, oh yeah, like I have a very clear image in my mind of like how my purchasing price sort of escalated as well, from the perspective of like, oh yeah, like, oh man, like $5,000 is a lot of money for this watch. And then later on it's like, well, but 5,000 isn't that far from 7. And 7 isn't that far from like
Absolutely.
12.
Yeah, you start accepting
Right?
it.
And it's like, oh yeah, and then obviously, as you've said, like a part of the investment aspect, like, well, like I have like a certain price floor that gives me coverage to then maybe like stretch myself a little bit more to something else, right? And like I think a lot of people are doing that because they have never been in a down market. Right. When all is like a bull market, it's just like financial crisis, like anything else. And like it'll be interesting to see where it goes, right?
We're definitely at an inflection point. I feel like whether it happens now or 2 years from now.
Yeah.
Or,
Yeah.
So you think we should sell everything right now, BC? Is that what it is?
Not financial advice, right? NFA? No, I've thought about it many times. You look at these boxes, but it's one of those things. It symbolizes more than the watch itself. Think about the relationships of friends.
man.
Like what we would have
man.
never. How the hell would we all meet each other, know each
Yeah,
other?
that's
You know
right.
what I mean?
I think Jim would have mugged me potentially.
Yeah, I probably would have
in like Austin.
If I ever saw
possibly.
him in New York walking, I'd be I can take this fucker.
First of all,
That's
I fucking boxed too, man. So
Shit. I don't actually want to square up.
go time. Put up or shut up, Jay. All right.
But yeah, no, I
yeah,
agree
for
with
sure.
you.
Yeah, like I
the
said, all
whole-
my friends in New York and stuff. There's no way our paths would ever cross.
Yeah.
So
100%.
I think I finally got my wife to figure that part of it out. So it's funny because like 90% of our vacations are revolved around like, well, this watch event's going on in Napa, California, or this watch.
That's bold, man. I think
Yeah, I'm thankful that I've made those relationships and that people appreciate
Yeah.
because we are a very tight knit and really small community. It's scary how small this community is. Whenever
That's right.
you're 2 or 3 degrees of separation from almost anyone in the watch community, so it's pretty neat.
It's actually kind of funny when you mention that degree of separation because, like, sometimes my wife would be like, "Hey, I have a coworker. He says he's really into watches." I'm like, "Well, not to gatekeep, but like, if I haven't heard of him, I probably don't know who he is."
Savage. He's probably
laying it
wearing
out
an
there in
Invicta.
Houston specifically. I'm just saying.
And on the Invicta
Specifically in
cruise.
Houston.
He has 6 of them.
That is not to say that's not to say that there aren't bigger collectors who I don't know, but like I kind of feel like sometimes those collectors don't want to interact with, you know what I mean, like in terms of the community, right?
They're like the lone wolves.
So back in like the
fine,
early days of time zone and stuff like that, that's how a lot of these guys were. It was very, very tight knit and very to themselves. And it was kind of the old guard of watch
Yeah,
collecting.
yeah.
And there was as much, I feel like, nose in the air as there is at times now. I feel like talking about Panerai and Panaristi and all that's really where I feel like the gap was bridged. With that one watch brand, and I feel like it just kind of got off the rails for a while, but they really had something going where they pulled people from different countries and backgrounds and everything else all together, and everyone kind of just had a mutual respect and appreciation from celebrities down to regular Joes. So that was one of the things I always admired about that community. So
Man, I'm really glad we got to do this because yeah, like the whole separation thing. I got to meet G because of another friend. I got to meet Brandon because of another friend
Yeah.
who was in the watch group.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I wouldn't have met him if he didn't get a Rolex.
Yeah.
You have a Rolex, Brendan?
Go ahead.
What'd you get?
Tell him how you got into the group.
I had Steven from Dufresne Watches. I work with him at another company, not Dufresne. And I would always have these like random vintage like Seiko chronographs, which from the 70s, and then I finally got like a Datejust, and I was like, "Yo, I got a Rolex. Check it out." And he's like, "Hey, you want to come to this like get together?" And I was like, "What's that?" And then that's when I met Jay and all of them. But it wasn't until I got the Rolex did he invite me.
So just note to everybody listening,
It was-
you had to buy a fucking Rolex to be accepted.
Which is not even true, which is so funny.
That's WIS 512 policy. You have to own a
yeah,
Rolex.
Yeah,
yeah,
to own
yeah.
one. I think actually everyone in the group
Or-
has one.
it's not
maybe-
Grand Seiko.
yeah.
You sure?
I was gonna say we're talking about degrees of separation. Who are some interesting folks that you want to shout out and kind of
Or we
are
should-
happy
we
to
should
have
know.
met?
So, one of his watches is on the guy I feel like the king enabler and everyone that really got me
Your
into
king drug dealer.
He is that and then some is Alex Lubin. I mean, this
Yeah,
guy
man.
he has really opened doors for probably more than almost anybody else I know. Introduced me to so many people and people like Kelly Yock that I never would again. How would I ever pierce the Tiffany veil, without his help and a couple other guys, and so it's I definitely owe him a lot. And like I said, Kelly, she's another one. To sit at a table with Trevor Noah for a Christmas party,
That's
type-
crazy.
I mean, crazy. These launch parties and stuff like that back then. I mean, just again, the vacations. I'm happy to go to New York anytime Kelly says something's going on and just
Heck
go
yeah,
hang
man.
out because you never know who you're going
Heck
to
yeah.
run across, and just met some
Yeah.
really badass people, including people that ended up being embezzlers and these Ponzi scheme guys.
so the
that
full experience,
we
both
get to
like
see
good
it.
people and bad people.
So guys that we really thought so pretty
Yeah,
neat,
man.
all at the same table.
Is that Timepiece Gentleman?
No, he's not. Damn. He went there.
Well, what is joy without sorrow? What is light without darkness, right? So most of my community is from New York City as well, and I can think of two guys right now, Henry Flores and Brian Gartside, who are the two people who keep me buying shit all the time. I don't know if it's because we want to one-up each other or not, but we have a community, the Classic Watch Club. They're loosely related to like the Classic Car Club over there, and that entire group of people, man, just always, it's always hopping. Someone's always getting something, and someone's always has like an interesting like viewpoint on something. Jeff Stein's part of the group, old vintage Hoyer guy, and like just always dropping knowledge, and so like it's again like going back to the community is like one of the most satisfying part of this hobby.
No, absolutely.
I think,
Right.
Jay, you said that's the only reason why you're still around is the people,
Yeah.
right?
I mean, a lot of times is like you get caught up in reference numbers in all the spec sheets, and
Yeah.
you forget that behind all of that is the person that you're actually interacting with. It's cool. Like, trust me, like seeing a Holy Grail and like getting to wear it was cool. I would have never gotten that experience if I hadn't met the person behind the screen.
Yeah.
So if you look at it as a people first hobby, the hobby becomes so much more enjoyable. Hell, like, for example, like this, we were shit-faced last night. We didn't go home till like 4.
Wait,
And
is that true? You guys have been like driving me all around town today.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't worry, that's a truck. No one's gonna take us out though.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
we
it's not cool. It's not
were
cool.
out and like all of that, but we were still super excited to actually come here and shoot with y'all.
Yeah.
And Brendan was like bitching about rolling out of bed, but we did it. And it was because of like the people that we were gonna.
Yeah,
like,
that was an air mattress you had me sleep on. So I think I was more bitching about like my ass and back just falling off.
and like now you got to meet more people in the hobby.
Yeah, I get to finally meet G in person.
Yeah,
and
because G
Brandon,
and
I-
Brandon have been
Right,
talking
that's
in
right.
the.
Yeah, we've been
group.
talking to each other for a while. Yeah,
Yeah.
digitally, and Brandon, it's nice to make a new friend.
Absolutely, always.
And we definitely appreciate your donation of the VC. And
Yeah, thank you for the blue one. So I guess one thing I do want to ask, like to close it off, is if you are talking to someone who wants to join the hobby, what would be something you would tell them that you wish someone had told you prior before you started?
Don't talk to Jay on Watch Cringe. Avoid that misstep here. Cautionary tale. Well, I'll say this. I think like in the very beginning, because like nice watches are expensive, right? And I feel like, at least when I was first starting, like I was very, very gun shy, I think, about wanting to try a lot of things or go out. You know what I mean? Like, because it felt like it was very inaccessible, I feel like, right? And, like the more I'm in this hobby, the more I realize that like pictures are very different than what it feels like on the wrist. You know what I mean? And then what's on the wrist feels very different on a bracelet versus a strap. And I think like, for me, I think I probably wouldn't have made as many missteps if I was a little bit more open to seeking out communities and really just like trying to wear everything on my wrist just to like kind of get a feel for like what are the things that I'm looking for, right? Lug to lug measurements or even just aesthetics or this or that. And as we talked about earlier, like the earlier you get kind of connected to a community, right? The faster you'll get diverse opinions and diverse sort of like perspectives on things, right? And like you don't gotta own a Rolex to enjoy this hobby.
you can own a ball instead.
Yeah, probably. I shouldn't talk shit about ball. They do make some interesting watches. The more you're able to sort of like start getting those data points throughout your journey, right? I think the faster you'll be able to kind of figure out, like what it is that speaks to you, what it is, the stories that you want to make with the watches. So just be open to it. And like I said, the more people you surround yourself with, then, the easier it's going to be, like kind of navigate this hobby.
100%. I think don't be afraid to reach out. Most people are pretty open to helping out that kind of next generation and pointing them in the right direction, because so many of us have made so many very expensive mistakes over the years that, I mean, I'd love to be able to point people in the right direction and go try this and this. You don't have to skip straight up to here and pay over retail to get a certain Rolex sport watch you want. Maybe there's something else that's pretty similar. Maybe that has the same pedigree. Maybe it's something that fits your personality better, your lifestyle.
Right on.
Like I said, now I don't want everyone, all 18 of your followers to reach out to me and tell me that.
Oh, shade.
I love that.
dude.
I fucking love that, dude.
I was like number 2 though. So
Shot
Yeah,
to the
I've
heart.
definitely found, because I'm a new collector, and I definitely feel that networking and just meeting new folks, that has given me so much more enjoyment out of watches, because they're telling me more information, they're giving me more advice, they're giving me different perspectives that I want to have had.
Even shit that you don't want to hear, huh?
And yeah, shit that I don't want to hear, shit I want to hear. And just the social aspect, I love that. That's like such a great,
Yeah.
to
Like the
have
number
great
one,
friends.
like a prime example is literally right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for our sponsors, and
for-
let's wrap it up with an ASMR.
Yeah. Thanks for our sponsor, Gatorade, for helping
For
us
recovering our lives.
I've got a Seiko metronome.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
perfect.
Do the thing.
Perfect.
Yes.
What do you want? 60 beats per minute?
Yeah.
People are like, what the fuck is that?
Let's start. Let's
Is that a bomb?
let's make a song now to this. Acapella? Okay, no. We just got to end it there.
Just you, baby.
No,
baby.
we're good. We're
Anyways,
good.
also, I want to thank our guests again. Follow them on Instagram if you haven't already, but I'm pretty sure you already are.
Yeah.
Hey,
See you next
guys
time.
no, a lot of fun. Thank you.